So this marks the 5th Sunday in Lent, 1 week before Holy Week begins. We'll talk about faith today. And to get into that, of all things, I found a Michael Bublé song, and this is my riff or variation on a Michael Bublé song. Time goes by, I've been holding everything inside, I've got nothing left to hide when I'm with you. Oh, I can see how strong a man I'm gonna have to be to do for you what comes so naturally. It's in the way you move. All I want is a chance to all I can do. I believe in starting over. I can see your heart is true, and I believe in good things coming back to you. You're the light that lifts me higher, so bright you guide me through, and I believe in you. If you don't want to, and all I want is to know you're near. You're all that I need here. I believe in starting over. I can see your heart is true. I believe in good things coming back to you. You're the light that lifts me higher, so bright you guide me through, and I believe in you. 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 Oh, I believe in you. And I believe in you. So those may be the three greatest, three strongest, three most optimistic, uplifting, hopeful words a person can hear at any stage in their life. I believe in you. I believe in you. Take a minute and think over the course of your life. Think about the people that have said that to you. I imagine and I hope for all of us there's come a time in our life, regardless of how long or short our lives have been, that every one of us have heard those words from someone that matters to us, hopefully even more specifically at a time when we needed to hear it because we were filled with doubt maybe despair, maybe grieving, maybe anxious, maybe depressed. So the gospel lesson today comes from John. Again, this is the final week in the preceding 3 weeks now that have all focused on John's gospel. We're in John chapter 11, essentially the entire chapter, or the majority of it anyways, through verse 44, and it's the raising of Lazarus. Now, when I was a boy, I was taught that the shortest verse in the Bible came from this chapter. When I was a kid, we were taught it, and in the translation at the time, it just simply said Jesus wept. And it comes at a time when the sisters, Mary and Martha, are filled with grief because they had sent for Jesus to come and show up, hoping that if he came and showed up at the right time, a miracle would be performed, and their brother Lazarus, who wasn't doing well, that he wouldn't die. Well, by the time Jesus showed up, it's already taken place, and so they're filled with grief. Everyone's filled with grief, and even Jesus himself is filled with grief, because that becomes the context for that verse, that short verse. Even Jesus cries out of his own grief, his own experience of grief. But it's also, maybe you've had those moments in your own life when just being with other people in their sadness, it moves you to tears. And that's exactly what takes place in this lesson. There's this whole dynamic going on all throughout the text about faith. Do you really believe? And in the end, of course, the sisters come around even before Lazarus has been raised to just simply say, yeah, Lord, I believe in you. And it's not that Jesus needed them to believe in him. He didn't need that. But in a moment of despair, they needed something, and in this case, especially someone, to believe in. They needed something. They needed someone to believe in. And that's part of the reason why I used that song today, to emphasize those words, I believe in you. These are challenging days. Now, for the majority of us, I don't think they're terribly challenging, at least not comparatively speaking, when we look at those working in the government, those especially working in the medical field, who are on the front lines of trying to battle this virus, contain it, get a handle on it, and care for those who are sick and dying. So for them, if any of you in those fields happen to stumble upon this, hear these words that I and we, so many others out in society, believe in you. Believe in what you're doing, believe in your ability to do it, and support you. Even at a distance, we believe in you. Think about wherever you are and whatever is going on in your life. Maybe you need to hear those words today, that I believe in you. And the greater point in all of this is that regardless about how you feel about God, this text also is a reminder of how God believes in us. If Jesus didn't care for the sisters, for Lazarus, for this community of people, if he didn't believe in them, if he didn't value them, he wouldn't have come around. Why would he? But he does. He shows up because not only does he care, but more than cares, he believes in them. He loves them. I mean, I think ultimately when we look at the other and we say, I believe in you, deep down what we're really saying is, I love you. Just in another turn of phrase. So, beyond whatever you are challenged by today, struggling with, maybe you're struggling to hold on to hope. Maybe you're struggling to hold on to patience. as you try to practice social distancing, whatever it is you're struggling with, hear these words, I believe in you, which is just God's way of saying, I love you. Amen.